What's cracking? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. And today I got a fantastic guest. Another New York person has graced me with their presence. And you know what? She's so New York. She just got off the what was it? The train?
I just got off the train, bro.
you so New York. You so New York. So anyways, shout out to REDinFamy. Thank you so much for being part of my show, coming through on my channel and being as dope as you are. As soon as you moved just a little bit out of your seat, I was like, all right, we can be friends. Because I seen the Kotsky behind her. And I was like, snap. Oh, snap. Let's go. Let's go.
Bebop shirt on and everything.
Man, she's stunting right now. She outside. Strictly gaming. I see you in the chat. Hustle and motivate. I see some people in the chat. Some familiar faces. In the chat. Yes, I see some familiar faces, and I tell you what, I actually had both of those gentlemen on the show previously. Very dope individuals, good gamers, hardcore gamers. Let's keep it real. But anyways, I'm here to talk to you today.
Souls.
Absolutely. But I'm here to talk to you today and talk about your history and whatnot. But before I get into all of that jazz and whatever, I want you to tell everybody first and foremost where they can find you, where they could, check out the content you got, or even keep up with you on a regular basis, whether that's like Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I did put your information in the description below, so if somebody wants a quick link to that, but just in case I missed something, please go on ahead and let them know.
Sure. Well, REDinFamy across the board on every platform, you might as well say, is REDinFamy. I also do a really cool podcast in correlation with Afropunk. We have a show called Culture Code, so that's on twitch.tv/Afropunk. We're on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. But everything is REDinFamy, and then also you can check out Geek Game Tight, that's tyte.com, to check out some more content and stuff. So yeah, that's what y'all can find me.
Absolutely. And you actually do interviews as well. One of the last interviews I checked out from you, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but she was she was like a pro fighter and whatnot, and you were breaking down the questions for asking her, like, what's it like being a female around a bunch of dudes they expect.
Janelle,
So how like, oh, surprising, you got beat by a girl and stuff like that, and she just wants it to be normal. She's like, it ain't nothing about being a girl, it's just I just whooped your ass, that's just what it is.
Yeah, she's fire, yo.
Yeah. That seemed like a good conversation. Absolutely. But actually, yeah, let's go on ahead and get into some of these questions and whatnot, because I definitely got some interesting ones for you.
Okay.
And the first one I want to go on ahead and ask you about is what we were talking about just a moment ago before we got into this. I asked you what the first console you had was, and you hit me with a bat. And I had no idea what happened or what the heck you were talking about. Go on ahead and speak on it, sister. Go on ahead.
Okay, so the first console I ever gamed on was the Master System, but the first console I actually had that was my own was called the Socrates. So the Socrates, for anybody that does not know, and it's so crazy because when I went to Vegas 2 years ago, I was at this dope gaming store. He had like all the consoles throughout history, but the one console he did not have was the Socrates. So the Socrates was an education gaming system. That's basically what it was. And it kind of like the controllers looked like the Master System controllers, but my mom had got that for me first. Then after that, she got me a Sega Genesis. But it was the Socrates. A lot of people don't know about the Socrates or heard of it or anything like that. But it was fire. It was a fire education gaming system.
That's what's up. A fire education gaming system.
Dope.
I ain't never heard of something like that before.
Look it up. The Socrates.
All right, I'm gonna have to look it up. But okay, so that kind of got you into like having fun and learning. Now let's talk about just like kind of chilling and figuring out what was your real niche when it came to gaming. So I know you said that was the very first console that you had, but what would be like a more mainstream thing that you had in your household that you were just like, whoo, this right here
Yeah.
is it?
It was that Master System, like Sega.
Let
I
them
grew up in
know.
a
Let
state.
them
Yeah.
know.
Oh, there it go right.
Yeah. Let me turn that camera just a little bit.
They
Let me
said it right
there it go.
there. Let me see
The
if I
tower of power right
can.
there.
But yeah, the Master System was like, I grew up in a Sega household. My cousins down the block had mostly Nintendo, so that's where I got my Nintendo fix. But I just love the different games that was on it, and I started gaming when I was a toddler. Like, I used to
Mm.
watch my dad play, and I wanted to be involved with anything he was involved. I thought everything he did was cool, from playing basketball to playing video games, and even him being in hip hop as well. So but that, as far as me finding my niche when I got to kind of conceptualize everything in gaming, was mostly like platformers, of course. Like, platformers were a
Bugsy.
thing. Oh, Bugsy, oh my god.
You know you remember that platformer right there.
Oh god. But yo, the one that broke my heart was Lion King. That was the worst.
Mm.
That was the worst platformer, period.
When you got to Scar, it was just game over.
I didn't get to nobody. Like, I didn't.
That game was hard. That game was that and Aladdin. Those games didn't play.
No, like, and they talk about Disney game. I'm thinking, okay, no, those games were not for kids. Like, I'm trying to think. Did I get to the Elephant Cemetery? And the only, I think after that was Timon and Pumbaa. Their level, and I just in overall, my dude did not become king at all. He was still stuck as a baby, as a cub. But yeah, that kind of introduced me into platforming, and of course Sonic the Hedgehog. And then after that, after Sega came PlayStation for me, and I fell in love. One of my favorite games is Tomba. Like, that's one of my favorite games was
It's
Tomba.
classic.
And if I go back to Sega Genesis, my favorite game of all time on that, like, console, is Alien Storm. Like, I love that game so much. Like, I'm actually gonna try and play it on Nintendo has the whole Sega emulation on there, and they actually released that on there. But yeah, Alien Storm, uh Sonic the Hedgehog, and so forth. Like the action adventure and the platform is where my niche came, and then after that came fighting games.
Okay. So were you big time when it came to Street Fighter?
Okay, so I had Street Fighter 2, but my favorite was Mortal Kombat, because before I actually owned the cartridge, period, my mom actually introduced me to Mortal Kombat. So here, well, what we used to have here in Queens, which was in Valley Stream, Long Island, we had a movie theater, Sunrise Movie Theater, and before you go see the movie, they had the arcades and everything. So
Right.
my mom was like, "Okay, let's go play something, to kind of pass time." And she wanted to play the fighting game, and she was like, "Let's play it." And she actually introduced me to it. My mom wasn't like, "Oh, you can't play that because of all this other stuff." Because we're in New York City, we're gonna see everything anyway. But my mom never sheltered me from certain. She knew what type of kid I was, and my maturity as a kid at that time. But it was fun playing, against my mom, like in a fighting
That's
game.
wild.
She was more VR with it before VR even became a thing, because she was just moving around with the joystick
Mm.
or the arcade. But yeah,
She dodging. She dodging. She
yeah,
ducking.
like doing all this. Yeah, she still
Yep.
does that to this day. It's hilarious. So yeah, my thing more was Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter 2, of course, that's what introduced me into Street Fighter.
Okay. Yeah, I still remember that code for Mortal Kombat, the original on A B A C A B B, and it'd be like, "Get over here," and the blood would drip down the screen, and you could start uppercutting people into the spikes and everything like that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I remember
Sub
that.
Zeros.
Mm.
Take the whole head out with the spine dingling, and all of that. Those were
Yep.
the days.
Those were the days. Those are fantastic times, absolutely. But but so you said after the Sega, you jumped into PlayStation. Is that correct?
Yep.
And from there, you said like Tombow was like a really good game. What other great games from PlayStation did you really enjoy? Because I mean, there was a plethora. There is a crazy amount of games.
Man, Xenogears, just introduce RPGs in general to me. Because I mean, well, what I should say, because I'm trying to go in chronological order, because I did have a Nintendo. The only Nintendo console I did have a Game Boy, and I would play Metroid on that. And then I had the Nintendo 64. I had Star Fox, Mortal Kombat, and Mario Kart. But into PlayStation, Tomba, Xenogears, I'm trying to think of this other game as well that I had, because I'm getting mixed up between Sega Saturn, because I did have a Sega Saturn, and PlayStation.
That's what's up.
But Sega Saturn was slept on. They messed up, but Sega Saturn
that's a fact.
That E3 was horrible, I heard. But
oh yeah, PlayStation just walked up to the stage, set the price, and just walked away. That was some disrespectful stuff right there. What was it, like $2.99, and they just walked away? It was something like that.
I heard Sega Saturn's E3 like was just not good at all. Oh no, what I have to look into it, because I was little during that time. I wasn't care about that stuff. But as I got older to learn about what happened in the past, yeah. But Sega Saturn was slept on as a console to me. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some other things. Tekken. I got a chance, of course, to have Tekken 3. I had Spec Ops, the first Spec Ops game I had. That game was mad difficult though. The first Spec Ops. I'm trying to think of some other bangers. I didn't get into Final Fantasy. I wanted that game so bad, but Final Fantasy 7, but I didn't get it. Like, I wish I had it. But my game was Xenogears, as far as an RPG. And I'm trying to think of some other titles. I didn't have a whole. Oh yeah, Soul Reaver. I'm trying to think of some other stuff.
Speed Punks. What was it? Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember some of the old ones I used to jam a bunch. I mean, I also had I used to put in this like Game Shark disc, and I had this memory card that I used to plug into it, and it used to be able to allow me to put in like Japanese games. So I'd get like Dragon Ball Z, Final Bout, Ultimate Fighter 22.
You didn't have to have the
I had the spring.
Okay.
Is that where you're going to refer to?
Yeah, because you know how you had to get something installed, or you had to do something, and then you was able to play the Japanese games.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
It would with that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a versatile time. It was a very versatile time. That was the golden age of gaming back when that was hot. Then the Sega Nomad and Game Gear was hot back then.
Oh man, I had a Game Gear. Nah, like that joint took so many batteries. Yo,
what's a fact? It disrespecting your pockets.
I was like, I just had it. I'm just playing columns. Why did batteries go out? Like, yeah, that was a rough time period. Like, all those damn batteries, like you was loading up a gun. Like, it took what, 6? Yo, nah.
yeah, it took like 6 of them. It took like 6 of them batteries. And it lasted you only a few hours. But like those few hours were gold, because it was like because on the other hand, Nintendo had the screen where it was like there was no light in the back of it, really. There was no color, or the lack thereof color. Barely any color, if it had any. Is mostly just green. So like when you got that Game Gear or the Nomad, you were just like, man, this thing is bright. I can play it, like, you know, as a kid, I'd be sitting in my seat in the van and whatnot in the back, right? And I could actually see it at night and play. I had like when I had my Game Boy Advance, I had one of those crazy lights that plugged in onto the top of it, the swivel lights.
That's what I was just about to say.
And it used to always glare, and you always moving around, trying to get that perfect
I had the
angle.
magnifying glass on it, and you hook it up. Yeah, I had that too. It was Pelican.
Yeah, so you already know what the business is.
Yeah.
Those was the struggle days for Nintendo there. But some reason they outshine Sega easily, and I think
Sega messed up.
They did. They just they were so futuristic with it. Sega in the 90s is like the Xbox of today. Really. So innovative, but somehow just managed to step on its own feet constantly. And I don't know.
It's so funny you said that, because I was speaking to hip hop today.
Shout out
and
to
I was
hip-hop.
like, yeah, shouts out to hip hop. I was saying how it's funny you said, because I was like, Xbox is turning into Sega. And because it's so funny because of the problem with Sega, just real quick, Sega just made a couple of bad mistakes, but I feel like Xbox is strategically making these mistakes. I'm like, yo, stop. So like, stop, pay attention. Y'all doing everything else great, but y'all have to pay attention to, we need games. We need games to come out. We need games to work. And that's the whole industry right now too.
That's a fact.
A lot of the games are kind of being half-assed, you might as well say, or like are not complete. So yeah, I need the industry to do better on those regards. But it's funny that you said that.
Yeah, especially since they want to charge us an extra $10 for these. I have no problem paying the $70, but I tell you what, if I pay $70 day one and somehow 3 months down the road the game is $40 and somebody else got a better experience than I did paying $30 more, I feel disrespected. I don't like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's the norm now. I mean, I beat Callisto Protocol when it came out, like just like a week or two after it came out. I bought it day one, beat it like a week or two into it being out. And I was just like, man, like this game could have been better. And I beat it on my PS5 because that's where I bought it over. I bought it on and whatnot. And it was still a fantastic looking game. It was kind of slow. It wasn't better than Dead Space, but the functionality of it, some of it wasn't as quick acting and whatnot. Like I wanted, like taking the health and stuff like that took forever, and I'd be getting my
I was looking at, because I'm not one to play those games, but
but
I love watching people play it. I just don't like feeling helpless in games. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'll let y'all play that. I need bullets and I need rockets and explosions. I need the whole arsenal to make me feel like I could get through this, not alone. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I heard it was a great ode, you might as well say, but I guess, of it not replacing Dead Space, but of course being a successor to it in some way, shape, or form. But it's weird. Gaming, I feel like the gaming industry and the gaming community is weird right now. So yeah.
It is, because it's in this period of like, wow, but at the same period, at the exact same time, it's in this like moment of what the hell, like why is this so great and so terrible at the same time? Like, because back in the day, you get your cartridge, you get your disc, you get your game and whatnot, and that was it. You like there was no update, there was no like day one patch, there was nothing. You got what you thought was a complete game. Sometimes there'd be a little bit of broken aspects to it. Shout out to some of the Saturn games that came out severely broken, but what I'm saying is they had to make sure that this thing was good, or the best that they could possibly do, before they gave it to you. And this time it kind of seems like investors are getting that cash and the developers are like, we ain't done. And the investors are like, I don't care. Send it.
We got a deadline to meet.
Mm-hmm. The deadline is just so, it almost tarnishes the developers a little bit, just for a little bit of change right now. And it's like, dude, why would you do that? In this time period, I feel like the ones that deserve my money, day ones, are the ones that are consistently coming out with stuff that are not completely busted, that are not gonna possibly brick my console. Like, I mean, every single I don't know too much about the Switch and what game messed up with that, but everything else, I mean, I've seen games like Star Wars, like that looks rough on people's PCs. Returnal, back when that came out, was messing up people's PS5s. Redfall, what the hell is that? Like you wait until a month before the launch to tell them to tell us that we're not going to get what you've been telling us?
That was heavily rushed. I feel like that was a rush project due to the acquisition. That's what I feel like.
I'm telling you, anybody can get it out here. Anybody can get it out here, and it just stinks because I really want somebody just to I just want one of these developers to put their foot down and just be like, we will not, absolutely not distribute a broken game.
Well, we have developers like that. They indie.
Right.
They're indie. And that's where the full integrity is. And I'm not trying to bash the AAA nor AA considered developers, because of course they have to go through the chain of so-called checks and balances where they work at and stuff like that. But a lot of these developers are going through it. There's a lot of mismanagement in a lot of these companies. There's a lot of nepotism in a lot of these companies where they're hiring people that don't have the skills, but they get the family, entry. You have that. There's all kind of different problems that's happening right now. That's why a lot of people are leaving and doing their own thing. But that's why for the past several months or so, I've been playing, some indie titles, and I've been playing some older titles. And of course, I'm like the backlog queen anyway. So I've been playing some games in my backlog. But it's my brother and I was talking about like 2010-ish to 2015 was a really great year, like great years in gaming, and even a little further back as well. But the seventh generation really came through with a lot of different titles. There was long-lasting franchises on these different platforms too. So we would get like 3 games that made like a franchise. Then as it got to the 8th generation, it's like, okay, you're gonna get 1 per platform. Like, it's really crazy. And it's even crazier to hear that, a PS6 is in the making. We didn't get through this one. Like we ain't get the full potential yet to see. This is still in infancy, to be honest. Like the PS5, I'm looking at my PS5, but the PS5 and the Series X and the Series X is in its infancy. So it's like, what's going on? And it's just a lot of different factors are happening. And I understand the quarantine disrupted a lot, but it's like by at least next year, we should not keep going through a whole bunch of stupidity. Like, we shouldn't be going through that.
Absolutely. I want to shout out the chat one more time because we got some more people that rolled through. Dark Artemis, Trinity Warrior came through. What's up? Silent Cypher, the original NLG podcast. That is Mike Mullis out there. What's up? Chips and Sticks. Spooky, the breathtaking gamer. And yeah, we got some more people pulling up. So it's really good to see. Really good to see y'all out here doing your thing. But moving on a little bit further. So PlayStation, big time. The PlayStation 1, big time. Ridge Racer, all those games. Fantastic. I was big into sports, Game Breaker and stuff like that was my kind of stuff. Game Day, all of that stuff. I was really big into sports, NBA Live, all that. But anyways, I'm going a little bit further now. PlayStation 2 comes out. Was that like something that you had early in its conception?
I'm trying to remember. I know one holiday, like one Christmas, I had got a PC and a PlayStation 2. Like, But like before I got a PlayStation, and I was in middle school during this time, I will always like print out all the stuff from the different gaming outlets on the PlayStation 2
Yup.
and like talk to my friends about it. It was either Dragon Ball Z, PlayStation 2, and Pokemon cards. Like that was the thing we all were like talking about and into and stuff. I had friends that were like,
What, you have a gateway computer back in that time? You got a gateway?
No,
Dell? Compact? HP?
I had to come back, bro.
See?
So, because the Apple was too expensive to get, but I was like, y'all really
the
want
iMac.
this 'cause of yeah, remember the colors? They had the colors and stuff, like the little translucent. So I was like, y'all really want one? And I was telling my mom. So that was too expensive. But my mom still came through with something that was similar. And it was the compact computer. They had the colors too, because they was trying to be like Apple. So my mom had got me one, and I was able to, you can actually change the colors to it. So that was my very first computer. You couldn't tell me nothing. And I had got a PlayStation 2. And
well, before you get to the PlayStation, tell me what's some of them compact or what's some of them PC games that you had? For me, I had like Max Payne. What was it? Go ahead. You go ahead and tell me.
Well, before I had my own PC, I had there was an older computer in there. And that's when I was introduced to text RPG type games and stuff. And I even played some MS-DOS games. I forgot some of the name of them, but it was just there, and I was curious, like, what in the world is this? But what was it called? Was it called just? I think it was just The Hobbit. I think it was called The Hobbit. Of course, it was a Lord of the Rings game, and it was like a text RPG game. That's what I remember. The other games that I got to play on PC was Tomb Raider. What's some other stuff? I didn't get a chance because it was running bad, so I didn't get a chance. During that time, I didn't know nothing about specs. I was like, I got a computer that I could go on the internet and be on AOL. Like that was
Hey, back in that time, PC was like the lowest common denominator when it came to gaming.
Yeah, like you really had to understand what was going on, and I was a baby and everything, so. I had during that time the social media was AOL chat, the ASL. Everybody always asks, but yeah, that's the only like couple of computer games that I can sit here and remember. And matter of fact, no, Civilization. I had Civilization 3. I would play all the time like that. I love real time like strategy stuff too. So Civilization.
So you like Ages?
I never played Ages.
Okay.
I played it. That's a lie. I played it one time. I didn't get into it. So, but Civilization and what's the new one? Humankind. I've been playing Humankind a lot. And I actually started to like that over Civilization. I like how you could go through different periods of time, but also go through different nations. Like you didn't have to stick as the same type of people. You could kind of mix it up a bit. So I like that aspect of Humankind game.
I see Chiefs and Sticks saying, "Yo, AIM was popping back in that day."
AIM was popping. Yo, Chips, I went back to our school. Recently. It looks crazy. So Chips and Sticks and I, we went to elementary school. We didn't know we went to the same school, like at all. But we actually went to school during the same time too. But we found that out later when we got a chance to meet each other, like over the internet. But yeah, AIM was popping. AIM was popping.
Oh, AIM was popping. Napster was popping. LimeWire was popping.
LimeWire was
Share. Everything breaking your computer. You leave it on all night long to get like 5 songs and wake up like it was Christmas.
So you start getting those notices like, you might want to stop.
Right. You get a little something in the mail that makes you slow down. Make your download speed disappear. All right. All right, I got you. But now back to the PlayStation 2. So what was some of the introductory games for you during that time period that really popped out? or was there anything that carried over from the PlayStation 1? Because those were the PlayStation 1s were, I mean, PlayStation 2 was dope because it was backwards compatible. You could actually use your memory card and stuff like that. So was there some stuff that carried over possibly, or did you just, start out with some new stuff, or how did the PlayStation one go?
Yeah, I started out with some new stuff. The very first game I got, am I pronouncing this right? It was is it Kenshin? It was it pretty much was like a Warriors game. So it's like a whole bunch of people on, a whole bunch of enemies on a screen at one time, and you fight against her. My mom had got that for me. I'm trying to think of some.
So like a Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, like Dynasty Warriors and stuff. So that was my very first game that I had, and I played that top to the end. Couldn't tell me nothing. I'm trying to think of and then of course getting Tekken Tag Tournament. Oh, that game almost got me. That game almost took me out of here, and I'm going to tell you why. That game almost took me out of here because, okay, so remember Tekken Tag Tournament? This is when they started, long down the road, they started to make the disc blue. I don't know why they did this. I never researched on why, but when you put the disc in, it did not work. And the main reason was because it was too light. Like the weight of it, the grams of the CD disc was lighter than a regular ordinary CD disc. So it wouldn't read correctly. So I thought, because I was that type of kid, I like to fix things on my own. I will open up a calculator just to put it back together because I wanted to know how it worked. Like I was that type of kid. So I was like, you know what? Let me open this up. But it was still plugged in, right? It was still plugged in, and I almost electrocuted myself trying to figure out how to make it work. I had it working for a little bit, but lo and behold,
what you working on it plugged in?
Yeah, I was
What's wrong with you?
Because I needed to know if it was gonna come on or not. So like I needed to know if it was gonna come on or not. And because we were so thirsty to play this game, my brother and I, like we love fighting games. So yeah. But after I found out as an adult, all I had to do was put like a penny or dime and tape it, and it would have had worked. But yeah, I almost died.
I like how you look down right there. You're like, I almost died.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. My mother had no idea I was gonna do that. But yeah, that was pretty bad. But as far as PlayStation, oh man. I mean like playing Crash Bandicoot. First Crash Bandicoot. I still hate that. I love and hate that game at the same time.
Was you mad when they made a comeback on on Uncharted? You're just like, God damn it, here it is again.
Yeah, I got mad when I bought the collection and I had to replay that damn what is it, the rope, the bridge, like it's a bridge and you had to keep hopping and it's the planks and the planks. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's a trying game. I love Crash Bandicoot and hate it at the same time. But Crash Bandicoot, I'm trying to think of some other joints that I had on there during the PlayStation 2 era. I'm getting like a brain fart at this point. But I'm trying to see because I actually have a nice little collection of PlayStation 2 games. I recently went to my family house and seen some of the stuff that I actually had on Jack and Daxter is like one of my favorite franchises. I will look. Can y'all please make a Jack 4? Like we really need a Jack 4 to come out. To me that took, like, of course Crash Bandicoot to me took platforming to a whole nother level on a 3D aspect. But Jack and Daxter really introduced for me a whole, like, being really immersed in a story, like a full-on like story, but in a platforming aspect, 3D platforming aspect. So so yeah, that's one of the franchises that is really beloved to me, is the Jack and Daxter franchise on PS2.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering if I mean I know you were around for it, but I'm wondering if you were a fan of it. Um, I'm trying to remember the year right off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly. I think it was mm, like 2003 or something like that. Maybe it was 2002. I don't know. But the Grand Theft Auto decided to come out with a third person video game
Oh
from
yeah,
their previous from their previous like Grand Theft Auto London, Grand Theft Auto
yeah,
2. Those were all top-down bird's eye view games.
yep. I
Really
had one of
weird,
them. Yep.
pretty strange game, but when they put it to third person and then you seen the commercials for it and whatnot because it was a hot button issue. I mean this was a wild time in history because I mean you got
Yeah,
you
Grand Theft
got Grand
Auto.
Theft Auto talking, you got Eminem getting sued and talking about his mama and everything. I mean the world was
It was
wild
crazy
back then.
time.
It
Yeah, it
was
was a little
crazy times.
wild.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. I was in high school. That
yeah,
was
50 Cent was
that was my
big. Yeah.
that was my freshman year of high school when I got introduced. My boyfriend at the time actually gave me Grand Theft Auto 3 and he gave me the previous Grand Theft Auto. So I got to see how that was playing top down and everything. Um and yeah, playing Grand Theft Auto 3, I was like, yo, this is it's on a whole nother level. Wait a minute. Like I was like, we could do that? Like that that game, you know how like Mortal Kombat changed how rating games were? That game changed the aspect again on like how games are received on a mature level,
Oh,
on
it was
an
making the
adult
news for
level.
sure. They got sued.
Yeah, so yeah, like yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3 and then to me, the best Grand Theft Auto is San Andreas. Like
Mm,
as San Andreas, that is my favorite. But Vice City was fire. Um,
yes, it was.
I didn't play the PSP ones. I didn't get a chance to really play those. My
Like
brother did
Liberty
though.
City Stories and stuff like
Yeah, like
that.
Liberty City Stories. What was the one for Vice City? What was that one called?
I don't
Was
know,
that
like Vice
called?
City Stories or something like that. I don't know.
I forgot what it was called, but oh, I remember watching my brother play it on his PSP. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto took monumental like period in gaming history. But
So I've
yeah,
never got to ask anybody this, and I'm kind of curious, just because I mean you're in New York, right? So
yeah.
what's it like? What's it like having a video game after your city? Because Liberty City was supposed to be New York.
It's New York, but it's a mixture. It's not just New York. Like Liberty City. The funny thing, okay, so and Grand Theft Auto 3 is actually a mixture of more than just New York. They said they incorporated Chicago because it's not like the scaling of it. You see how like San Andreas did a really great job at scaling
Yep,
California and
and
also
Vegas.
Las Vegas and Vegas. They did a really good job during that time. When it came to Grand Theft Auto, as far as Liberty Cities and stuff like that, it wasn't scaled. It's not scaled at all. The best scaling that I ever seen of New York City was actually the Division. To me, is the best scaling of New York City where it was at, like near 34th Street and Midtown and everything. I would love to
Dang.
see a game actually scale correctly New York City because the way they did that with Grand Theft Auto 4 and so forth, and even Liberty, like as far as 3, it wasn't accurate at all, like at all, like to be honest. So the
Okay.
best scaling I've seen, I forgot. Also, Spider-Man. Spider-Man did a really cool job with the scaling of New York. But
Well, they actually call
I
it New
will,
York in the game, so they
yeah, they actually
gotta.
all in New York. But the best that I've seen that was really like down to a T almost was Division, and then Spider Man and stuff. But I would love to see not just Manhattan because people just think New York City is just Manhattan, and I'm like, no, it's 5 boroughs. One of them we don't care about, but there's five. There's 5 boroughs. That's Staten Island. We don't care about Staten Island, but it's 5 boroughs. So yeah, like I just came from New York as far as Manhattan. That's where I just came from. But I'm in Queens. But yeah, I would love to see a game like have that New York essence to it. Like it's about New York instead of something that's kind of offhandedly like something like the Vision of Spider-Man, but can see the true essence. They tried a little bit, but nah, I need something a little bit more accurate.
Well, how did you like some of those like knockoff Grand Theft Auto games like Scarface, The World Is Yours? They had what was it? True
Scarface was
Crime Streets of
fire.
LA and Streets of New York. What'd you
Those
think of
games.
those?
Those were fun to me, especially Scarface. This is Tony Montana's term. They did a great job. Like they always do that.
Yeah, you had to do coke to stay alive in that game. It was wild.
That game was wild, but I love what they did with it because it showed like wonder if Tony Montana didn't die, and you was able to fulfill or do
Hmm.
different things. I thought it was really dope. Um, with that true crimes, I don't. They were goofy. Like as a kid, you're not looking so much into it. And I think that's kind of like the problem today. We're the generations that's growing up with gaming. Like we're actually growing with the actual industry, with the actual community compared to other things that are old entertainment mediums like music and movies and such. This stuff we're actually growing with. So as we're growing with it as adults, sometimes we pay attention to too much stuff instead of actually having fun. Having fun. So true crime back in the days, it was hilarious because it was goofy.
Yeah, it was.
um, and those gave birth to like Saints Row and stuff like that. So I love those aspects, and even Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs. I'm so happy they changed everything. From the true crime to Sleeping Dogs. That game was a sleeper. That and Max Payne 3 came out that same summer, if I'm not mistaken, and those were bangers. Like
Yeah, people slept on Sleeping Dogs. That's for real. Um, I have a question from the chat. Punty was pretty much asking, since we're on the subject of like Grand Theft Auto and whatnot. He's wondering, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out. He's wondering how you're feeling about it costing approximately $1.5 billion.
what to make the what?
Hey,
um
your eyes lit
I
up.
don't
You're
know
like,
about
what?
I don't know about it costing that much to make.
I don't know about that either, but that sounds
Yeah,
I mean, hey,
as far as generating that money, as far from what I'm hearing and the rumors that I'm hearing in the industry, being a part of the industry myself, I I hear that they're trying to do something very advantageous with that game. Um, sparking on even things that we have, technologies that we have today, like AI, generating things, stuff to not be the same experience every time you tap into the game. So I can see it being somewhat costly, but there's
check
other
this out.
avenues too.
Check this out real quick. I just did a simple Bing search, Google search, whatever you want to call it. And it says GTA is reportedly going to have up to a $2 billion budget,
Damn.
making
So
it
I
one of the
mean,
most ambitious games in the history of the
it's
series.
gonna be, from what I heard, it's gonna be very ambitious on what they're doing. Like, so that's crazy. And we already know that six is probably gonna last for another 10 years. Like,
Right. That's probably why they're
so
doing it, so they can
yeah,
skip
it's
another
gonna,
generation.
they could skip mad generations. This joint done lasted for 3 generations. I have never, like, 3 generations. That Mario did Mario Kart last for Mario Kart 8? Did that last for 2 generations?
I don't
Because
know if
wasn't
it
it
was on the original Wii. I know it was on the
no,
Wii
wasn't it on
U.
the but wasn't it on the 3DS?
Well, I
Was it
don't
on
know if you
3DS?
want to count handhelds into
I'm
that pick.
counting.
Okay, okay, fine.
It's too
All
long.
right.
We need a new
Yeah.
Mario Kart. Damn it.
She said, I don't
So
care. It's no
like,
excuse.
no excuse. We need a new Mario Kart. But yeah, I mean, to answer that, 1.5 billion, that sounds crazy. But I mean, from what I know of it being very ambitious, advantageous on what they're doing. That's crazy because that means that that's gonna last for a long time. And there's gonna be a lot of key words and buzzwords that we hear today in technology is gonna be a part of that game. So we'll see. Like we will see how this is gonna be. It's gonna feel like a whole world on its own.
Yeah, I heard the map size is supposed to be like almost like double the size of the previous one. So I mean, in the previous one, I mean, it's big, but
Yeah.
double the size, like that's
I
gonna feel
just
like
want
a
to know
damn
where is
state.
it gonna I just wonder where is it supposed to be, or are you able to take a plane and go? Like that's gonna be crazy. Like you're able to take a plane, go somewhere, or drive cross country, or to whatever other country you want to go to, or other countries. Like I don't know, but that would be fire. Like they really want people to stay on that game.
Hey, I'm here for it. I just can't anymore with GTA 5. I can't. I'm
Oh
done
no,
with
I
it.
don't play that. Yeah, I've
I'm
been
done with
done.
it. Yeah. I was done with it last generation.
Me too.
They still got me though. This generation, I bought
They
it for the
did.
PS5.
Did I
They
buy
got me,
that? I
and
think I bought it from
I
my
played it
brother.
for a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
hours, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And you can hear the sirens going off in the PS5 controller and the phone calls and stuff like that. And I
It
was like,
gives me
"That's
motion sickness. I can't play that game no more.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough."
Those
All right,
frames ain't framing.
so we need to
Wait, I
definitely
need to.
move through the rest of this topic, and I'm not rushing you at all, but I definitely got to get into some other topics. But the history of your gaming is very important. So I'm kind of curious, like, did the GameCube pop up for you during this time period, or were you just nah?
No, it didn't. I wish I could have played it, but it was PlayStation. Like PlayStation was dominating, and I was with that dominating, platform. Like, no, and I guess because growing up growing up Sega, there was just certain things at that time that I wasn't interested in. So I kind of skipped the whole family is type games, you would
Yeah,
say.
Sega set you up for the mature games, and then kind of the
They did.
baton was passed to
Yeah.
PlayStation pretty much, and they continued mature games like Silent Hill, Resident Evil. You
Yeah,
know,
and don't get me
yeah.
wrong. I still play like the I guess jovial type of games that which they weren't, but still. But I just felt like PlayStation had a which they did had a better catalog. PlayStation 2 goes down in history as one of the best catalogs next to Super Nintendo. So um yeah, I didn't even think about the GameCube like that. There was some bangers on it. There was some gems
Oh
on
yeah.
the GameCube.
Oh yeah.
Luigi's
Eternal
Mansion
Darkness
would
is
have
one of
been
my
one of them.
favorites.
So yeah, I didn't get that's just like so GameCube, the systems I didn't have Dreamcast, even though it was
Mm.
it was really expensive. I couldn't get
I got to side eye you
like
on that one. I got to side eye
I
you on that
know.
one. How you
I
gonna get the Saturn, but you ain't gonna get the Dreamcast? What you doing?
I tried. Like I remember I remember asking my mom. I think this was before the Dreamcast came out, but it was okay. So in Queens, we have this place called the Coliseum. And I remember going downstairs and it was this gaming shop and they had like all these international, like it was an Asian shop owner. They had, stuff from the Asian region, period, with gaming. And of course they had the Western region stuff too. There was a Dreamcast there, and I was like, yo, I was like, Ma, can I please get a Dreamcast? And that joint said five something. When I looked at it, I already knew it was a no. Like I couldn't finesse or say what I could do as a kid. I already
Trying to
knew it
finesse
was
your
a
mama, and
no.
she locked you down. She had you on lockdown.
Yeah, she blocked me. So, and I'm not mad at her because it was really expensive. Because I guess it was something that was, you could play any games on it and stuff like that. I didn't know. I just know I wanted a Dreamcast. Didn't get the Dreamcast, bro. Yeah, yeah. That's a gap that I really missed out on.
All right, so I'm wondering if you also missed out on, the, PC that's becoming a console now that was Xbox at that time period. So Tell me about your experience kind of getting into that ecosystem. Was it early on the original Xbox? Was it later on 360 or Xbox One? Like where were you at when Xbox, like along came Xbox?
Oh no, I had the Xbox when it first came out. We had some little obscure games on there. Started out, yo, we had the Bruce Lee game.
Oh my God, that game was
Oh,
terrible. That
oh,
game
it
was
was
terrible.
horrible.
I bought that game 3 times in hopes I'd like it each time. And I sold it every time. I sold it back
Yo,
each time.
I actually played Scarface. I had that on Xbox.
Nice.
I got into Halo with Halo 2. So had Halo 2 on there. I used to actually compete in college. We had our own esports. So like battles with the dorms or whatever. But I used to compete with Halo in college with that. Um I'm trying to think of some other bangers, but yeah, I got in I had I didn't really play like there was certain games I played on there. I had some sports titles on there. I forgot the what was it called? Game Time? I remember I think my uncle got me that game. I think Shaq was on it. It wasn't the 2K.
Oh.
It wasn't
Mm.
2K. Cuz the first 2K I had two what was it?
No,
Two
it
did I
wasn't.
have 2K
There was
too?
NFL Fever. That was the Xbox version of the NFL games. Was it Inside Drive? Trying to
Because wasn't
remember.
Inside Drive was only on PlayStation, wasn't it? I
I'm gonna
forgot
check
what
it
this
out.
game was called.
NBA.
There was some little offhand little NBA
Yeah, yeah,
game
yeah.
on the
Inside Drive was on
Xbox.
Xbox with Shaq on the
Inside
cover.
Drive. So it
Yep.
probably was Inside Drive. But I was a 2K person. I had
Facts.
2K on PlayStation 2. I
Anybody
had
that was
AI on the cover.
anybody that was really into sports was into 2K during this
And to
time period.
2K. Yeah, 2K. And then after that it was live. And then you had to come back to 2K.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
You
yeah,
on it. You on it. You already know.
yeah, so um yeah, like the Xbox, like Xbox, of course, during that time when they came out, it was more powerful, of course, than the PS2, but it couldn't keep up with that catalog. And I, it was very smart of them to hurry up and say, okay, we got 360 coming out, like for real. But 360, this is when I was in still in college because Xbox, I was in college too, but when the 360 came out, I was like, yo, do you see them sweat beads on Dwayne Wade's face? I remember yo, like you see those sweat beads? Like, I remember going to I went to a different college to visit someone, and it was this dude that was trying to talk to me, and his friend, he was playing what was he playing? He was playing NBA Live. And I was like, yo, you got the 360. I was like, I'm sitting there playing with. He was like, yo, where did Mika go? I'm like, I've been here playing these games. Like, I was just so impressed. And during that time, especially being in college, it was just more affordable to have a 360 versus a PlayStation. And PlayStation broke my heart during that time. Or I was mad. I was upset with PlayStation. And I
Why?
used to get on because it was too expensive. I couldn't buy that.
Fair enough.
I couldn't
Oh yeah, that
purchase
that PS3 was wild.
the first one, the first damn near $700. That was the backwards compatible one. Like it had everything. Then they had to change it and take certain things out. I was like, nah. So I used to tease people who had PlayStation 3s during that time. I was an
Uh-oh.
Xbox fangirl during that time. They were
Uh-oh.
like, what? I was an Xbox fangirl during that time. Like I used to tease my friend. I was like, oh, so it's just you and yourself on PlayStation? Like I used to tease him. I'm like, I'm on Xbox Live. So Xbox Live was incredible.
It was
Um,
though.
I was
It really
playing
was.
Call of Duty 4 and stuff. So like the 360 days, that was the golden era, for Xbox, I would say, period. And then I went back home to PlayStation after when it became a little affordable. But the first experience I had with PlayStation was actually PlayStation Home. That was the first thing I actually played. on a PlayStation 3, and I was blown away. I was like, hold up, I can talk to other people and not be their friend. It's like I was like, I'm in a world, which what they call today as metaverse. But
Right.
um I was like, this stuff been around. But yeah, those were like from the 360 to the PS3 days in college. Um, so many great memories with both of those consoles. Period. I was into Call of Duty heavy during that time, so it was Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Call of Duty was fantastic, especially Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the original Black Ops 1 and then Black Ops 2. I still remember that boat. Everybody remembers the boat off of Black Ops 2. Come on now. Come on now. Everybody remembers that boat. That was fun. Those were some
Yeah,
good
but
times. Go on ahead.
yeah, I was saying, and getting interest, going back to 360, like playing Halo, getting back into Halo with Halo 3, and then Gears. When Gears came out, you couldn't tell us nothing with Gears. Like we was all
That's a
playing
fact.
Gears. Gears was crazy. So that's when I fell in
They
love
made
with
the
that
bro
franchise.
culture cool.
Yeah, it was.
They did.
Yo, yo, that game was so stereotypical, like each character, but but yeah, those I miss those days when Xbox had a lot of different games to choose from because they had a year start. It was able to get some really cool acquisitions, even localizing certain games or with certain Japanese companies. You had Lost Odyssey, you had Blue Dragon, even getting titles like that. So
Yeah, that whole
um
XBLA day was wild. It was
voice the
fantastic.
party chat. Come on, like
Yup. And, and,
party
and
chat
uh,
was
Net,
crazy.
Netflix and chill was a real thing. It was
Netflix
a
and shit,
real
because you
thing.
can have your little avatar and the other
Mm-hmm.
avatar there. Like, well, yeah, those were the days. That's what I hope Xbox kind of knock into their heads on what's going on. They could go back to those days of some sort. Um,
Punty said when they canceled PlayStation Home, he almost cried.
oh man, I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, it was a world within a world, of course. You was able to have your own apartment. You could dress up your apartment, do interior design and invite people over. Uh all the clothes you could buy, or even go into like the bowling out. Like it was so fire. If they would do something like that today, which that's one thing that pisses me off about PlayStation right now, to me, with the management that's going on, I just feel like they're very disconnected with their fans. In this era of PlayStation compared to their other eras of PlayStation.
That's
But if they
interesting to
would
hear.
do
Like, where are
something,
you at with that whole thought process on that? Because, I mean, that's interesting that you bring that up, but you're not completely wrong at all because it's just like a lot of the stuff that they said that they were done with or moving on from, they ended up double backing and creating teams to do this stuff. So, like, backwards compatibility, for instance. Now, they said, we believe in generations, and then they erased it and said, we're making a back compat team and we're doing this. And they didn't want to do subscription services. Now they got subscription services. Now they got games on PC. So like, I see what you're saying. The messaging is a little like, what are you guys
the
really doing?
messaging, the messaging, all these companies they all flip flop to go what the climate is in general. So I
Mm-hmm.
expect that. I don't approve of it, but I expect it. My thing is for example, there's no PlayStation experience anymore. I don't know if they're gonna do that. They don't have PlayStation MVPs, or it wasn't MVP. What was it? All Stars or something? I forgot what they used to call it. They don't have that for all the PlayStation loyalists to have something for them, just like what Xbox has, like the Xbox ambassadors and such. They don't have certain activations that they do to just make sure they keep up with the community. I feel they don't do a great job with inclusivity activations at all, compared to what Microsoft makes sure that they do. So there's a huge disconnect. Even like, in my opinion, even like the marketing campaign. Of course, you had power. Well, not what was it? Was it power to the? Because I'm thinking, don't let me say GameStop. but the GameStop term. But
Yeah, right.
they had I'll say Plows and Play. They had, get Greatness Awaits and all this other stuff.
Right.
They had certain campaigns, and I forgot what it was to the players. That was during PS4. But they had certain things that make you connect with the brand. And I feel like they're too quiet and they're not speaking to their fans that made them sell, of course, a whole bunch of units of the PS5. I didn't even hear thank you. Like, so like to say that they are the successful ninth generation console. So
They moving like a
just things like
lasagna right
that.
now, right? They moving like lasagna. You
Word.
can't hear nothing.
The G, where's the G? So like, so that's my qualm that I have with PlayStation. Other than that, of course, the games are going to sell themselves. They make sure they have a high quality. We know it's going to be top caliber. We know that they set the hype period when it comes to the games, hands down. Period.
Mhm.
But I want more out of that. I'm a PlayStation user or someone that's dedicated. You have PlayStation and Sony, PlayStation faithfuls. There should be something on the other end of that to be recognized. And I
Is
feel
the
like they're
reward
doing
systems with
horrible
more
stuff
customer
there.
service not enough for you?
First of all, they could deep six that. I don't like. I'm like these little NFT things. Nobody care. I don't care. Like it's not. It's
Yeah.
not on a. It's nowhere near to the of what Nintendo and Xbox is doing at all. Like I was able to get some gift cards over the Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like I was able to get my little Amazon gift cards. I was able to get physical different little trinkets or what from Nintendo from racking up those different gold and silver coins. Just things like that
Right.
is still something to have some type of appreciation. Nintendo always made sure they're at these shows that fans could come out to. Just you have to connect. I don't get when companies want to cut back so much that they feel the need that they are not supposed to connect with their audience because they know, oh, they're gonna buy our games regardless. You need like in face, in person type of activations to connect with the crowd. Not, oh, we signed the check for this college over here. Yeah, we're doing something good. No, like that's not to me that's not how the gaming community is supposed to be. Like you're a gaming company, but you have to understand
Sounds like you
also
miss Sean Layden.
I do. I do.
Because he
I
was
do.
outside. He was outside.
He was outside. Like I got to meet him a couple of times. Shuhei, I got to meet him a couple of times. I never met Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, he does his own thing, it seems like. I mean,
met Jack Trenton. I met a lot of the executives of PlayStation. You can't say that nowadays. You don't even know. You can't even say who the face is except for Jim. There should be other faces. And during that time with PlayStation, there was more than one face to say who was a part of PlayStation. Well, Microsoft, you can name all the different people of Xbox that's a part of Xbox besides just Phil Spencer.
mm-hmm.
You can't do that with PlayStation right now. That's a problem to me.
Well, I want to know more games than people right now from Xbox. I'll tell you that much. But anyways, moving on from that, I want to know where you're kind of at with. I mean, because you talked a lot about PlayStation this generation. Let me hear where your head's at with Nintendo next, because they seem to be crushing it with a last gen piece of hardware. Very, very last gen.
Even though it was the first ninth gen, but that was not really, but
right.
But they doing the damn thing. Like they pump out like the games is month after month after month. They have games that's coming out. To me, they've been the most vocal with their game releases than the other two. Because Sony only came out with one game this whole year. But Nintendo, like, I got a stack of Switch games right here I gotta go through. But I love the Switch. I think it was one of the best hybrid type of console handheld devices that platforms that's ever come out in gaming history besides the PS Vita being so slept on as a piece of technology. Um, but the Switch is fire. That's another mishap. That Jim, I don't know if Jim was a part of that, but uh, just ruined that. So I hope PlayStation's not doing this stupid handheld that's supposed to be something connecting
Oh yeah, you heard
anywhere.
that remote play hand. I hope that's just a rumor. I
It's
hope
not.
that
I bet
they're.
you it's not.
I'm. I hope it's a rumor because if that's real, that's as tone deaf as it gets. It's as
Yes,
tone deaf as
that's
it
the
gets.
perfect word.
I,
That's
no, no. I mean, we've had remote play on PlayStation for your phones, and you also have had remote play for Xbox for your phones and other devices as well for a while. Those are emergency gaming moments. Those are not something I want to relax, sit down when I'm just chilling. Like if I'm out, especially, I mean, when I think of a handheld, I think of something that I'm using in the middle of nowhere,
yes,
possibly. The last thing I want to worry about is my internet connection when I grab my handheld. Like
exactly.
it's just not it to me it just doesn't work
And
like
you
that.
already have all these other things that you can put the remote play app on if you
Right.
want a handheld experience besides just your phone. So you have Logitech that's able their device. You have, of course, the Steam Deck and the new ROG Ally, where you could just put the app right
Yeah,
on it and
Razer
just
even got
play.
themselves one too.
So, like, come on, I don't know what they're doing, and yes, it's the perfect word you said was tone deaf. Exactly, but the Switch is killing that area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with a lot of they got so many bangers. Like I'm just looking at um of course you got Tears of the Kingdom that's coming out soon.
That's tomorrow. That's
But
just in a few hours.
tomorrow, word tomorrow. But yeah, Switch is of course they keep up with the nostalgia, but they did not mess up like what they did with that damn Wii U. It's like the Wii U was the weirdest thing they've
Mm.
ever made. Um, but they
Yeah, it's
paid
almost like
attention.
a
They
two console. It's like a two-piece console almost, right?
and you still connected. Like I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Um, and they were their collect that catalog is very lethargic compared to what the Switch has. So there's so many gems from Astral Chain, that has something that's all from just a Nintendo studio ish, made game. Um, What's some other joints? There's a lot of because I didn't have the Wii U because I was like, there's no sense in me having a Wii U. There was some bangers that did come up with it, but I got a chance, of course, to play on the Switch from Super Mario Brothers, the deluxe Mario Kart. That we need a new Mario Kart.
You on that hill?
Um, yeah. Uh, Even like the partnership game. Like I love Mario and Rabbits as far as with Ubisoft, the Battle Kingdom, a Kingdom Battle. I always get it mixed up. But I love the whole strategy aspect with that game. What's some other joints I have that's crazy? Um they always had period, of course, all the Mario games. I have mostly all the Mario games. There's only two I refuse to get. I'm not getting Mario Golf. There's no reason to get Mario Golf. But Splatoon, I have to get three. Um, what else I have? Pikmin. A new Pikmin is coming out.
Mm.
Can't wait for the new Pikmin. I
I
got
forgot
the
about that
Mario Kart.
joint.
Yeah, Pikmin 4 is coming out. What's some other stuff? Of course, you got the Japanese-ish games, which I need to get into. The Atelier. I would love to start the Atelier. Uh, I got Xenoblade, the whole Xenoblade franchise. I got like all the collectors. I got 1, 2, and 3, the collector's edition. I need to try Octopath Traveler. Um, I can't wait to play that game. They came back out with Live Alive or Live, whatever y'all want to call it. But I love even what Square Enix is doing with the 3D, 2D aspect of their titles. What's some other joints I have over here? That's But I love how you were still able to get games that are not so much just with Nintendo. Of course, Pokemon. I don't have the new one. I do want to get, what is it, Arceus?
Yeah, Arceus.
Yeah, Arceus. I do want to get that. I heard that was a game changer when it came to, of course, a Pokemon game that we all kind of been asking for. So I do have to get that game. But they got bangers. Like they always come out. They always have something, no matter what. And I think people sleep on it because if you're not into the Japanese-ish games, because of course you have those at Sidebar, but even the Mario games to Zelda to their partnership games, even with the warrior type games they have, or Fire Emblem or anything like that, they always have something. Like they are doing a great job. Period. They always have a game of the year. They always have a game of the year, just like with Sony. They always have something that's going to be breathtaking for that year.
Mm-hmm. Even on a slow year of Sony, they still got some. I mean, like this year, I mean, obviously that's technically Square Enix with Final Fantasy 16, but hey, Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
I mean, that there's only one first party game that we know of from PlayStation that's coming out, and it's Spider-Man 2, and nobody is looking at that game like that's going to flop or anything like that. Like we already know that Spider-Man 2 is probably going to it's going to hit them numbers. It should be a good game.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It should be a good game. Insomniac don't miss.
It's Insomniac. I was just about to say that. Insomniac wouldn't, like, nah, they don't miss. Like, period. Insomniac is that team. They're an incredible team. It was so crazy. Like I was speaking to someone how when they did the update for the rebooted, of course, of Ratchet and Clank. They did the update so it could run a certain way on the Pro. During that same time, they were working on Miles Morales and then also working on Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. I was like, so y'all were doing all of that and everything came out perfect? Like what? Like they're that team. I feel they're my favorite, like, huge developers.
That's one of my questions I was gonna ask later. So you answered it already. That's cool.
Oh, for
real? Yeah. No. That's good. That's good. So let's move on to the last one, which is Xbox. I want to know your whole thoughts and opinions. Whether it's throughout the generation, Phil's last interview, the anticipation that is every year E3, or Starfield, that's the big unknown still. Even though we have a little bit more information, we as fans are still sitting back like, what is this still? Yeah. And by the time we figured out what Redfall was, it was too late.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts about Xbox and the brand, about that, and then we'll go on ahead and move on to the next subject.
Sure. So I guess I'll start off with Phil's whole conversation with Kind of Funny. We was just talking about this today. And I was like, yeah, that basically, like Gerard said, it's when keeping it real goes wrong. I feel like what Phil could still have been transparent, but not in a way to make the morale go even further down. That's just like you're the general of your whole army and y'all lost in this one area, or y'all losing the battle. So you're going to say, yeah, we're losing. You have another area to go through. You're just going to tell your soldiers like, yeah, we messed up and, we're not competing anymore. You don't say that because you have a whole showcase next month. So basically what you're telling your core fans and people who may be curious or people who's anticipating as gamers in general that I shouldn't look forward to your showcase because you're telling me that there's nothing to look forward to. if you're saying that you're not trying to compete. Because you should just say, guys, I understand the mishap with Redfall. So that's our bad, but we have some really exciting things to show next month. Like you don't just you have to pick it up. Like you could still be truthful. It's the same thing when Nintendo did when they came out and they were honest about the Wii U and they was like, yeah, we messed up.
Perfect
But
comparison.
yeah, we messed up, but we aim to do this. We aim to not do this next time. We'll make sure that we have the developers, have the third party publishers confident with the platform that we have so we could provide for y'all. He could have took that same thing from Nintendo and what they did. I just feel like it was a PR cluster, like madness. Like it was a cluster bomb. And it's like you just want to say that you're giving up. It's not like and this is for everybody. It's not to fuel a console war or anything like that. We know the fun stuff about console war and a lot of the stupidity that goes in with the community with the console war. It's still being a competing company. You're still a company that's competing. And what people need to understand that you have Microsoft and you have Xbox. And if you're not appeasing Microsoft, then Microsoft could be like, y'all are done. So like, because which that almost happened years ago.
Right. Xbox One.
It was about the Deep Six it. They was like, well, the Xbox Live and everything is not working, and all this other stuff is. We thought Xbox Live was successful, with 360 and everything. But when they were getting rid of the Zoom, Windows Media, and all that other stuff, they was getting rid of a lot of the entertainment sector, and one of those were Xbox. And everybody was like, "Why? We thought it's doing successful. If it's not successful to their eyes and their metrics, then we have nothing to say with that." And I feel like the business model, and I said this a long time ago, I got chewed out on Twitter all around. I was like, y'all gonna see what's gonna happen in the future. And sure enough, the Game Pass model is not a model that it was going to be successful. You pretty much said that in order to experience first party games, you only had to get in for $1. So like that, for the first month or the first 3 months, and then after that, you get access to your beloved titles, your beloved IPs. Then you fall short on Halo. Then, in my opinion, you fall short on I didn't like Gears 5 like that. It wasn't as bad as Gears 4, but it had a lot of technical problems on the Game Pass version. So I'm like, is there something also with the quality of games because it's on Game Pass compared to the disc version or the, just the retail version of the game? Is that something to talk about? And then we see now that games are coming in, half-assed, like, oh, we're going to get the game 3 months later, the rest of the game. What? Like, so you're not setting like any type of quality. Perception is everything. And then on top of that, you have 1,000+ on a game, and it's not pumping out quality with your competitors. Not even with Nintendo. Like you're not even making something like Halo's supposed to be your crown jewel, and y'all messed that up. And then you make an acquisition. You're buying games. You're buying game publishers and conglomerates, and it's like y'all just press and play. Y'all not understanding the teams. You're not understanding the management of those different teams now to understand what was going on in the projects they were already working on. You just like, oh, y'all got it, and oh yeah, it comes out this date. No, and I felt that's what happened with Redfall. So,
and Phil openly admitted that pretty much, like, yo, we just kind of let them ride on that one.
No, you cannot. And that's what I don't understand. It's like there's no quality assurance of what you want at all. Like you don't see what Sony's doing. You don't see what Nintendo's doing. You don't think your fans want that at all. You just want them to keep parading Game Pass like this is something lucrative, because you do want to see how many copies was sold of a title. Besides just, this amount of people played this game. That doesn't translate into a different metric as far as success. You just said you had a whole bunch of people on that game at the time. And I'm talking about Hi-Fi Rush. what equates that game was actually successful? You can't even equate how it was. Those to me are the issues that they're having. The quality of games that's coming out, keep getting subpar games that's not on the same quality or caliber as Sony and Nintendo. And Nintendo is not even caring about resolution. They just know they're coming out with a fire game. And then of course we're going to get the Switch too. Of course they had problems because of the quarantine and whatever. But regardless of their setback, they still to this day are giving us bangers. And we can't say that about Xbox. And I feel bad. Like, of course, people like I feel bad for the Xbox faithfuls that they're not getting what they want. Like, I'm still waiting on Hellblade. I loved Hellblade. And Xbox Sony was the one that helped Hellblade. Nobody was talking about Hellblade. Sony was the one that was fostering Hellblade. Same with Deathloop. Same with what's the other one? Ghost. What was the other Bethesda game that they were? Yes, they helped with that as well. And then Sony and Xbox like, oh, y'all helped them, y'all fed them, y'all raised them. Okay, now I'm gonna take them. Like, and then you don't foster anything else with that child. Like, nah, that's what Xbox does. And I wish they
to be honest,
have things different.
Bethesda and Xbox have had a relationship for quite some time, obviously, with like the Elder Scrolls games. Oblivion was an exclusive.
But when you think about those games, do you think about Xbox?
What? Oblivion?
The games you did, except for Oblivion, when you think about Elder Scrolls and Skyrim, do you think about Xbox or do you think about PC?
That's actually a good question because the PC is big time driven with Bethesda games for sure. So I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I just want to remember that like they have worked together and had exclusivity with games for some time, which you could say similar with like Insomniac a little bit. But sure, I mean, because you can kind of say the same thing about like what was that game Insomniac did for Xbox, Sunset Overdrive, right? Like Sunset Overdrive was Xbox's thing, and then pretty much right after that, PlayStation bought them. So it's the same because it's a little similar when you say.
Did you hear what Xbox? Did you hear what Insomniac said about that relationship?
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't good.
They were pissed. That game was not marketed well at all with Xbox. They were pissed. So like I remember them being pissed at E3. Like they were pissed that game was not marketed. It was the same thing with Remedy with Alan Wake. They were pissed during that time because they were full on marketing Halo Reach and they didn't market Alan Wake the way it should have. Like that is another factor and problem too. So what I was talking about on how Sony did help with the development as far as money and spending with Deathloop, help with the Ghost Tokyo. What is it called again?
Ghostwire.
Ghostwire Tokyo. I always say something else. The Ghostwire Tokyo. Same thing, of course, that we've seen with Street Fighter. And Sony's known for that. There's a difference between, okay, we're doing a partnership to help with development and we're doing an exclusivity deal because, we're doing an exclusivity deal and then that's it. Like when it comes to, from what we see, or when you hear Oblivion, and of course you're going to think of Xbox because that was an exclusive. But when you think about the rest of the franchise, it's always going to mostly be PC. And even the developers of Deathloop, they thanked, and this is when Xbox already purchased them at the Game Awards. They thanked Sony because if it wasn't for Sony, they ass was about to be out because that was their last project. If they didn't make it, that studio I heard was, it was going to be a debate. And I'm pretty sure Sony would have tried to acquire them or whatever, but you never know. But they needed the help. So And of course, after that, Microsoft made the big decision with ZeniMax. So I just want that. I'm like, if y'all purchasing stuff and Xbox right now has more studios than PlayStation, I need y'all to come out with some bangers and stop giving us half-ass projects. Like, y'all got the money and resources right now. What is the problem? So, Phil, I wish he would have gave his core audience and gamers alike period some hope next month, because you have Starfield, which it was just going to be Starfield. Now you have a second thing that they're supposed to be showing. Hopefully we get some Hellblade 2 gameplay, like actual gameplay. Hopefully we get some Fable gameplay. As far as Starfield,
Fable would be fantastic, but I just don't know. I just don't know
I-
about that.
I feel like- I feel like-
I'm not expecting it to be there, to be real.
But they announced this mad long ago. Like,
They
you know how many
did.
years? They announced this so many years ago. Shouts out to Geek Life Mike when we were on Afropunk podcast yesterday. He made a great prediction, which would be dope if they would do this. The same thing they did with Hi-Fi Rush. They should do the same thing with Hellblade 2, which would be you just do a stealth drop. Like you announce it like what Bethesda does. You announce, you're talking about and stuff, and like, yo, you can play it right now. It's in the store. That would be fire for Hellblade 2 if they would do that. Because it would be perfect, because there's nothing out during June. Like there's some bangers coming out this June, but there's not a lot of stuff that comes out during the summertime. So that would be dope if they would do that. So shouts out to Black Mike.
I have a question from one of my favorite people in the chat. Very consistent on coming through and watching the show. Mr. Joy in the Dark comes through and he says, if Hellblade, Starfield, and other games deliver, does it matter if people bought the game, or does it matter if people enjoyed and played it?
That's a great question, because it matters if it works. So like, I think
there you go. I like that answer.
That's the first thing.
If it works, we all good.
If it matters if it works, because then it shows an improvement that, okay, y'all messed up, but y'all could, win us back with something, because Xbox gamers have been waiting since last generation for something. So like, for consistency.
Right.
Because Xbox One was what? Like, there wasn't any consistency. That was on par to me with the Wii U. So as long as the game work, and yes, we can play the game. Now, as far as the question of, doesn't matter if it's being purchased or if it's played, the model that everybody has jumped on, because the reason why they made Game Pass was because people weren't buying the games as much as they wanted to. For Xbox, the exclusive. So I guess to their metrics of playing the actual game, because I don't know about exclusives with Xbox being bought like that, unless they do some fly collector's edition. But the collector's edition last time didn't have the physical copy of the game, and that pissed a lot of people off. For physical copy collectors, like even myself, I love collecting the physical copy of games as much as I can.
Yeah, I was actually, and that's an industry-wide issue as well too, because when they announced the Jotnar edition of God of War, I was just like, for real, y'all giving me a hammer, figurines, and everything, but y'all giving me an empty box?
I was pissed.
With a piece of paper that says, "Here's a code."
Piece of paper, like we ain't nothing. You just dropped bread. I felt dirty. Like, so I get like,
they gave you a necklace, but they can't give you a disc. Like the cheapest piece in that whole collection, y'all couldn't give me, because a disc ain't nothing in comparison of that hammer, that thick ass heavy hammer, and that the necklace and all this, all these other little pieces and trinkets that came with it. In my opinion, I think the disc would probably be the cheapest one out of all of that stuff to get.
The thing is, how you give us a steel book, but we don't have a disc. Give us a steel book. We don't have a disc for it. Okay. What are we supposed to put in there?
I don't know. You put your favorite burn CD from 2002 up in there or something. I don't know. But anyways, you pretty much gave the smoke to each or to each platform just now. You said Sony needs to be outside more. They're pretty much invisible. All you do is hear whispers of what's going on, and you really don't know what's going on. At this point, even right now, we're talking about a showcase that's possibly going to happen at the end of this month. And it's just like, man, y'all could get so many people hyped if y'all just come outside and say it right now. But y'all want to wait, and it's kind of weird. It makes you wonder if they're ready to show or if they're not, or like what's up with all the pussyfooting around a little bit, right? And then Nintendo, you're just like, yo, y'all are yesterday's stuff. You know, we need today's stuff. Yeah, exactly. We and in my opinion, I think they're exiting the same way they exited the Wii U. They dropped Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and then made people double dip when they went to the Switch. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen with Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom's going to come out. Everyone's going to buy it. They ain't going to say nothing to nobody. And then all of a sudden, once those sales numbers start to go down, they're going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, we got a new console. And then people are going to be like, oh damn, I got to buy that game again because I'm sure they're not going to give it away for free on the next version. They're not going to do that. I don't think so. I think they're going to go the Sony route and tell you director's cut. They're going to give you that director's cut experience.
The definitive edition. What? Yo, when they started the definitive edition with Tomb Raider, I was like, yo, this is going to be a thing. And sure enough, definitive edition. I'm like, come on. Like, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel like that's going to happen. I said the same thing. I know they did have a setback with the Switch 2. They did want it to come out a little bit earlier than what was predicted, but hopefully next year we do get the Switch 2. And as far as the Switch 2, y'all have some competition. Y'all got the Steam Deck and y'all got the Allies. So it's like,
right. And those can be docked just as easy as a Switch can. And people are playing Nintendo Switch games on those consoles.
And it's running better. Like, so yeah, y'all got competition. Y'all could keep suing people as much as y'all want, but y'all can't sue you can't sue the whole internet. So yeah, people are doing that. I mean, people are doing it the legal way and the illegal way. So y'all definitely have to step up. It can't just be we're going off a nostalgia ultra. Like you have to step it up. Like we want the 60 frames and so forth. Like I was about to say Sonic. The Mario whole franchise, y'all sitting on gems too. Like y'all are sitting on some gems that have not come out. A lot of different franchises or just IPs alone that have not.
Donkey Kong, yeah, we haven't seen Donkey Kong in a long time.
Kid Icarus, like a lot of different
F-Zero with Captain Falcon and whatnot. Like, come on now,
Star Fox.
Facts. So yeah, absolutely. And then also, yeah, with the whole Xbox thing as well, like Phil Spencer, yeah, he like I personally didn't look at that interview the same way a lot of people did, but I can understand from somebody that's not like constantly looking around seeing the good in some of it and also knowing what's possibly going to be coming out after the showcase and stuff like that. I could see it as just like your average fan looking at that interview being like, ew. That was rough. For me, it was a little rough, but at the same time, he did say some stuff that got me pretty excited with the whole, hey, I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel with this quarterly game launching. Because as you said, they got more studios than Sony. So there's no excuse. They should be able to do quarterly, right?
Yeah.
And the one statement that I did take away from his whole conversation that I liked was he took a note out of Jim Ryan's book and just said, I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk. You're just going to have to see it. And when he said that, I was just like, all right, well, we will see.
I hope so. I hope they pay attention to how Sony and Nintendo too, but mostly Sony, how they would do their press conferences like in the past. They was like, enough of us talking and doing these corny ass intros. posts. Like, we are thrilled. I cannot stand when they say we are thrilled. I need y'all to stop saying we are thrilled. But just show us the showcase. We don't need the little corny banter and all that. Just show us.
It needs
You
to be like
have
that
the
developer direct, right? That developer direct hit was
Yeah,
hitting.
like
It just hit and
this,
just goodbye.
just give us the games. Tell us. I don't need to know about Susie in the corner with the cup. I just give me the game. Show me the game. Show me some of the cool stuff. Have the developer talk or whatever, whomever you want to have to explain some more things in depth if need be. But I just want to see the games. That's the core thing we've been asked. Every time I would go to Microsoft's press conference at E3, I was like, I already know what Sony's going to give me. I already know what a Nintendo Direct is going to give me. I know they're going to come out blazing. But Microsoft, are y'all going to throw some bows? Like, y'all going to, you going to knuckle up or something? Like, what are y'all going to do? And,
Knuckle
it
up.
was like, I don't need like, word. Like, I need y'all to counter. I need some counter punches up in here. I need some Javante Davis counters. Like, I need that. Damn, like it's like I keep getting disappointed because I'm like, what they gonna do? Disappointment.
Infamy says she want to see a devastating body blow.
Yeah, this is competition. Like, competition breeds the best for all of us in win-win situation. Keep Sony on their tone. I actually wanted that deal to go through. I wanted the Activision deal to go through because Sony would have been on their damn toes for multiplayer games and other games that they actually need to come out with and probably come out with more. And I feel everything does not have to be AAA all the time. We can have those gems, those AA games like
those Hi-Fi Rushes and stuff like that.
Hi-Fi Rush, like Stray and so forth. We can have those in between games. That's what PlayStation 3 was so great with that. Like, they were really great with the AA titles that was in between those big announcements. It gave us something to play. So, I hope with this, hopefully, this so-called showcase that's supposed to be coming out, that they give us some new IPs, maybe a remake we haven't seen from a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 era, and so forth. And of course, we're going to have Spider-Man, but it's crazy how Spider-Man 2 damn near can shut it down with one game. Like, that's why I said it's so weird. Like, they can show Spider-Man and that can just defecate on a whole like platform showcase. That's not cool. It's like, y'all have to come swinging. So it's a weird time in gaming right now, but hopefully the indies have been keeping it up. Shouts out to the indies. They've been keeping it up. They've held it down with the core essence of why we are talking right now. And that's the passion for video games and playing and having fun and having those memories to even talk about. So they keeping up with that.
All right. Well, we got about 25 minutes left. I tell you what, this interview had like we stayed on this topic, like history and all this stuff, about 40 minutes longer than I anticipated. It's supposed to only be the first hour, but it ended up being an hour and 42 minutes long. And that just goes to show you that this is a good conversation. It's relaxing. It's nice. We just talking about how we feel about it and what we see. But with that being said, I also want to hear more about your content creating side and how you got big into that and whatnot. So let's move aside the actual, history behind your gaming and whatnot. Let's talk about the history behind your content creating. So first question I got asked for you with that in mind is, what actually got you into it and what generation was it that you started on?
Well, for content creation, like,
yes, ma'am.
So I would say my my content creation is not as orthodox. How I came about. So I never knew that I was going to be a gaming journalist. I never thought that I would become one or anything like that. It kind of just fell into my lap because of like what we're doing now, just passionately speaking about gaming. And graduating from college, recession time, hard to find a job. I actually went to school and have a degree and marketing and public relations and stuff. So um it was not in journalism at all. But I would listen to some dope podcasts during that time. One of my favorites is Step Your Game Up. That was from back in the days. Of course, Danny and the crew with Gamer Tag Radio. I think another one was Raw Gaming. They had a dope show. They had like a public access gaming show that was dope. They would put on YouTube. Um, those became very inspiring for me, and even Hip Hop Gamer, I got to see him too. I didn't know him at the time, but seeing him and seeing someone that was very relatable showcase their passions. And then I got to see women, shouts out to Crunk Girl, Jen's Playhouse, Stormy, Steph to Death. I got to see those women, and that even enticed me more to be like, I could do this stuff too. Black Essence, like those women alone really inspired me to be in this. But when Twitter came along, I started to, I guess, do content creation on Twitter, talking about video games a lot. And during that generation, I guess that's seventh to eighth generation of gaming. Um, that's when I was introduced into the community and also into the industry. So I got discovered on Twitter from an editor. He shouted me. I didn't know he was an editor of a magazine, but he was like, "Shouts out to REDinFamy. She's a dope Black woman that knows what she's talking about video games." I was like, "Thank you." And come to find out, he was a big editor at Black Enterprise, and he
Wow, that's been
played in
around
my
for a long time.
yeah. He and I'm like, wow, I used to like I had the Black Enterprise magazines and stuff, especially because I was going to school as a business major and seeing these Black entrepreneurs doing the thing, and wanting to become successful in that aspect. Having someone that looked like me doing it as well and something. But he was like, "How would you like to write for Black Enterprise?" And I was like, "What?" like I like just off my tweets alone. Like he didn't ask for any writing samples at all. He just knew I knew how to articulate and convey myself. During that time, what was it like 140 characters? I don't think it was 150. It was 140
Right.
characters. Um, and I was like, really? And I was able to bring gaming to Black Enterprise and report on different entrepreneurs in the gaming space, from developers and so forth, and writing about them and covering them. And before then, I did write for an indie website. Shouts out to Treasy Jeff, Treasy 504. Where I got to write independently for a gaming website. But my professional, I would call it, because I got paid, like as paychecks started coming, was with Black
Hey.
Enterprise. From there on was Ebony Magazine, and then with Complex and Revolt, and then working with more indie
Those are some big
gaming.
time magazines, though.
Yeah, so I've been blessed to have the opportunity to take my passion and make a career out of it, and then from there on create my own media outlet. Instead of, I've helped with countless of other independent outlets and stuff over the years, and have done on field, of course, interviews from the major developers to pro athletes that are in esports and so forth. So yeah, I've been covering video games since what, 2012. So yeah, it's been a really dope journey and adventure. But that's how my content creation, as far as like what content creation is called now, streaming. I think I came into that 6 years ago, or 6 or 7 years ago. And I think I started on YouTube or Twitch. I forgot. But I remember my very first stream. It was a struggle stream. It was very struggling.
The
But
struggle street.
it was a struggle stream. But hip hop was like, yo, just start it. Like, and I'm like, you right, because when you started with the PlayStation camera, like the PlayStation 2 camera. Like I remember I remember those days.
Wow.
Um, but he was like, just start it, because, if people love what you're talking about alone, of course they're gonna want to see you. But people gonna be more engaging with what you're saying and how you're playing your game or engaging with them. Period. And it worked out, and I got a chance to, start streaming and doing brand partnerships and stuff like that, and even getting a dope brand partnership with Alienware. So shout out to my Alienware family. So yeah, just starting alone and not worrying about so much of the glitz and glamour at that time. Like I needed all the fancy stuff, but I have had those struggle streams for sure.
All right, speaking of struggle, I'm kind of curious as to like, so no, I'm just gonna be frank with it. Was there ever for you any like trials or
Tribulation.
frustration as being not only African American in gaming, but also a female African American in gaming? Can you tell me, do you have any experiences that you're comfortable to speak about, or did
Oh
you even
yeah.
have any experiences at all that really kind of like threw you for a loop, like as to like somebody questioning your credentials or experience?
Yeah, I've gone through that a lot. I've gone through it. So, when I first started out in this space, of course, I didn't see a lot of faces that look like me. Um, and I'm talking about from a female aspect too. That didn't the way I was raised. Like shouts out to my mom, my grandma. Like the way I was raised, period, was just a certain way. And then growing up with mostly male cousins too, I was raised and went through my own journey of having a thick skin. I don't take no mess, but like having a thick skin, having that armor. Getting into this, that never was in my head, like, oh, I'm the only black girl around or whatever. Like that never was something like, oh, okay. I mean, I would see it, but it didn't deter me. The one thing that would deter me from certain stuff is when I was working with different teams and I was the only female, or getting to work with someone new and then my integrity was questioned. Yet I knew more than them, well, way more qualified than them, and had more to bring as an asset. And I knew that. See, once when you know who you are and what you do, of course, people get this so-called imposter syndrome. We all can attest to a hesitation on something because we think, well, am I worthy or not? That happens. That's a human thing that tends to happen. It happens too much with us, when we should know that we're great, but it does happen. But I knew what I brought to the table always. So it didn't make me kind of fluster, but I would go through that a lot, because I was with a lot of male, it was just mostly male groups. And I'm not saying because it was a male thing, it's just that my integrity was questioned, on several different occasions with different people. Um, or I would see, okay, you have this group of people, you have these white girls, if they're getting these opportunities more than a couple of the black women, of course, that's in the industry. That makes no sense. Like you'll see that too. I was witnessing these things. I was told, "Oh, you should be the black version of." I was like, "What?" Like,
The
excuse
black
me?
version. Isn't that
Yeah,
fantastic?
like you should be the black such and such. And I
Like
was
you can't
like,
be yourself. You
you
have to be
there's a
the
black
black.
person telling me this. A black person was telling me
Oh
this. And I'm like,
no.
yo, like I mostly work with black teams. For the most part. And I'm like, I was like, did you just hear yourself and what you said? Like I expect this from someone else to say that. So like, but you said that. Those things was like very hard to hear. You should be the black of this. I'm me, who I am. What I could bring from my walk of life. So yeah, I did go through that. So it's always, from what I see today, which I'm so proud of, and even being especially a black woman, but a gamer, that I consider, I never shied away from being a girl gamer, whatever you want to, whatever it'll be called or whatever, but a girl gamer in the aspect that, yeah, I am that girl that just kicked your ass in Call of Duty and 2K, Madden, whatever. Like I always would be on the mic, all of that stuff. Um, from the attire that I wear and everything. I never hid that. A lot of women cannot say that a lot of times because of however they were brought up, or that's just their personality. I don't expect everyone to be like me, but I'm happy that I have always been who I am through my experiences from childhood, growing up into teenager, into a woman, on how to handle certain things and to be strong, and also be strong for someone else. If they can't see that strength within them, they can get influenced by the strength that I possess. That, okay, yes, I am a woman in this. Yes, I am playing with the dudes or whatever. And I could talk as much smack as anybody else can too. So that's one thing, that I had to learn. That I grew up as a shy little girl, so I had to kind of learn that too. But yeah, I faced a lot of ups and downs with that, or being taken for granted, or my talents being taken for granted. That happens to this day, uh, with different things or people that I've worked
So
with.
some things have
Um,
changed and some things are still the same.
it's still the same. It's just very unfortunate when it comes from your own people.
Mm.
Like, I expect others to do what they do, but when it comes from your own people, that's where the huge upset and disappointment come from. When I experience those type of experiences.
Yeah, nothing's more painful than your own people in like putting you in a box. And it's like, wait a second. We trying to escape together, but you shoving me back in the box. What's going on here? We can be different. I can sound
Yeah,
different. I can sound like a like somebody from freaking Texas.
whatever.
Or Oklahoma or whatever, like just like with the draw
Whatever.
and sounding whatever, and then meet somebody in New York, and like it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at the end of the
Yeah,
day. Are we
but yeah,
are we interested in the same stuff or not? That's what matters.
yeah. And what can you bring to the table, and how can we make this into a Voltron? Like,
Mm.
it's that simple. But a lot of people don't get that aspect, unfortunately. But I have met some incredible people in this community and this industry who have always been supportive no matter what. Um, I was just shouts out to my good friend Rich with Rage Work Networks. I just had a conversation with him at the event I was just at, and he was just saying some really cool things, and he made my day. It was just a blessing to hear the stuff that he said to me about me. And you need that here and there, because yeah, this industry and this community can be a little bit messed up.
Hmm.
Period. On a lot of aspect. And us as black women, us as brown women, we do face a lot of stupidity in this industry because they think we don't exist, or they think that we're doing it for attention. Like, I've heard all kind of stupidity. We're doing it for attention. We're doing this, but y'all don't say that to white or Asian women at all. Well, why are you saying it to us? We play video games too. We're one of the highest consumers. What are you talking about? So it happens, but I do love the people that I have met, the small villages and communities that I, you know, have gotten to be a part of and have become a family over video games. So that has been truly a blessing. And those downs, just turn them into ups pretty much.
Okay, well, with that being said, I want you now to shout out some of the people that helped you get to where you're currently at now. Whether it is, somebody in your personal life, i.e., mama or something like that, or, somebody in your business life or something like that. Go on ahead and let people know who was
Oh
there
yeah.
for you since day one, or at least hopped on the train when
Oh
they seen you
yeah.
riding.
I gotta give, just like the editor I was talking about, his name is Anselm Roke. An incredible guy, incredible brother that really believed in me. Jeff Rogers, aka Treasy 504, another brother of mine.
Said that with your chest.
Yeah. um, uh, um, let me see. Mike Bitter, Geek Life Mike, of course, and of course, Hip Hop Gamer Gerard. I'm trying to think of some other people. My family, the video game amateurs. my sister Cherie, the first Black female tech editor for a huge outlet. Crunk Girl 711, Crunk Girl 711. Carl Brown, one of my great best friends. My sister Lisa, of course, my mom, my grandma, my brother, my dad. That's without saying, period.
Facts.
Being supportive and understanding, just understanding what I do and being. My grandma tries to look at every one of my videos like as much as she can. My grandma pretty much is one of the pillars to my geekdom. Because she is a Trekkie, Battlestar Galactica. She loves watching us play the video game. She'll ask us questions and be involved. She loved comics. Superman's one of her favorite characters. So, but yeah, my grandma is a huge sci-fi nerd. And just intelligent woman, period. Like vastly intelligent. But I feel like as a award and like you forget some of those people and they be like, "Yo, you serious?" but I would be there. Oh, my god brother, Sky, my god mom, Lynette. I'm trying to remember everybody, so I'm sorry if I forgot somebody.
I know. As soon as we go on to the next question, you're gonna have like 5 more pop in your head.
Word, like my cousin such and such and friend such and such. But anybody that's ever believed in me and what I'm doing, shouts out also to Tech and shouts out to Chariot, Ken, Blue Mustang. Those are a lot of people who are day ones that were in my chat. Spider, anyone who has ever given me flowers or having me on, even you, Hans, but Ham, I'm about to call you Ham Solo, Han Solo, but for having me on.
It wouldn't be the first.
I'm just appreciative of everybody that asked me to come on their show and want to know about me. Like, that's to me one of the best awards to get is having fellow people from the community, from the industry, even wanting to know more about me or anything like that.
Yeah, hollering at you for the right reasons instead of trying to drag some drama out of you or something like that. I feel that.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it. I think those are the most important things, like to me always, is when someone wants to ask me who I am or what I do or how I got into something or what I can help somebody on. Those are the huge shout outs always.
Awesome. That's really good to hear. And I always love to hear people's shout outs to, who they really like leaned on or who leaned on them. And your history, it's really interesting. I mean, the first thing I asked you threw me out the window. I was like, what the hell is this console? So I mean, like one of the main reasons I love doing this show is because no matter how smart you think you are, there's still more to learn. There's always more to learn. There's always somebody else that you didn't meet that could help get you a little bit further, whether it's a career-wise, mentally, or just with your heart. So I absolutely enjoy doing this type of stuff, no matter who it's with, whether it's a PlayStation fanboy, X-bot, or content creator that's neutral, or a developer, or somebody that's just really loves gaming and they don't do any of that stuff. Like I've had plenty of people on this show that they don't make content. They're just a gamer, and I just found them to be interesting people.
Yeah.
So I reached out to them. So I just absolutely enjoy that kind of stuff.
This show is fire.
I appreciate you for that. But we are winding down towards the end, and I just have a few more fun questions just to kind of roll this thing out nice and smoothly, and hopefully end it on a positive note. There is one negative question in there, but it's pretty easy to answer. It's more or less how you're feeling about certain thing. But I will get to that here in just a moment. The first thing I wanted to ask you is, what's the next most exciting game for you that's coming out in the near future?
Oh man. I guess we talked on it. Spider-Man 2. Like I'm really excited to have the opportunity to play as Miles Morales again. Um uh it's just like having Miles Morales, of course, as a character that was newly created, but being an Afro Latino period as I am as well, um,
So that
it's
hit
just
you for
dope.
real.
But his character to me, he's the best Spider-Man. Like his
I
powers
agree.
is fire. Like
I got
go
that
invisible,
electricity. Come on now. Move over, Peter
electricity.
Parker.
Do
You
you
can't do
notice
this.
they always make black characters with electricity for some moment, for some
Static
reason?
Shock.
But like
Static
Storm,
Shock was dope.
Black Lightning, yes, that
Yeah,
Static
Black
Shock
Lightning
is
straight
dope.
up. They just threw the
Yeah,
name in it with it. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
yeah. Rest
Black
in
Lightning.
peace, Dwayne McDuff, Dwayne McDuffie. But yeah, like I would say Spider-Man to dang, what else is supposed to be coming out?
I mean,
Man, I'm
if they
trying to
say
remember.
Hellblade, I know you're looking forward to that.
I am looking for Hellblade. I'm very much looking forward to. I really enjoyed the first Hellblade, and what it gave for real. So Hellblade 2, Spider-Man 2, what else? I can't wait for Pikmin. I think I didn't even know I was going to turn into a Pikmin fan. I played the demo, and I was like, "Yo, this is fire!" Like, so Pikmin 4, I'm excited for. Kind of went over every platform so far. But yeah, those are the games right now. I'm pretty sure there's some others. But oh, Mortal Kombat, yo, I really can't wait for the new Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter 6 is fire, and I'm not
You
really
finna go
into
back and
Street
give your
Fighter that
mama the
much.
business. You finna go back and
Yeah,
give your
just
mama the business and say this is for back in the day. This is from them arcade movies.
yeah, yeah.
Come
We
get
gonna
this
see how
smoke.
she play. Yeah, we gonna see how she play. But yeah, I can't wait for what they're gonna do with Mortal Kombat 12. So, I hope I hope they give us something in lines of Deception, um, when you was going through the different worlds, but kind of make it more like how you can actually go into the different worlds and walk around too. Um, to play along with what Street Fighter 6 is doing. So hopefully they bring that to light. So I'm excited, and I think Mortal Kombat to me has the most consistent storyline when it comes to having an actual story with a fighting game than
Right.
all the other fighters. Period. Because Tekken need to get it together.
Tekken's
Um,
confusing.
confused. Like I'm tired of that family. Like damn, close Ratchet family. Period. Like, I'm just tired of that whole saga. Like there's other
So why you
things
do
to
Jin
talk
like
about.
that?
Like I'm tired. I'm really tired with that. But yeah, I would say Mortal Kombat, of course, Street Fighter 6. I'm curious on how Diablo 4 is gonna be too. Um
I already got
Pikmin
that.
4, Spider-Man 2, Hellblade 2. So yeah, I would say those games so far. I'm trying to think
All
of
right.
some rumored games.
All right. Well, I think that's good enough because we're running a little short on time, and I want to respect your time as well because you just got home from being outside doing your thing and whatnot. I want to give you your chance to relax and kick back for the rest of the night, because before we know it, Tears of the Kingdom will be out, and we still talking on this podcast. But anyways, moving forward, I want to know 2 games from when you were younger that you would like to bring back and get revived and like slap a new fresh coat of AAA paint on? Like what would be some games that you absolutely loved that are dead IPs now that you'd want to come back?
Xenogears. I feel like they didn't finish it correctly. But I would love a remake and for it to actually finish correctly of Xenogears. I would love that to happen. Another game, I did mention Jack 4, but Alien Storm. I would love Alien Storm to come back. What nuance they would bring to that, with the aliens, or Tomba. Like those were the games that like yo were my favorites back in the day. So those games I would love to have a fresh coat of paint, with this technology that we have right now. So those titles right there.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's what you want. That's what's up. But now we're down to that frustrating question I was telling you about.
Okay.
All right. So brace
hit me.
yourself. It's not too crazy though. I want to know straight up, what frustrates you about gaming in general, if anything? So this could be community, this could be development, this could be anything in the realm of gaming. What frustrates you specifically? Not what frustrates the crowd. What frustrates you?
I'm gonna go with gaming first. What frustrates me is when companies do not listen. Do not listen to their core audience. That's what frustrates me. When they fix things that's not broken, and instead of just adding a nuance to something, but
Try to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah, like, and then break it. Like, listen to your yeah, like listen to your core audience. One of the examples that I would give is Destiny, when Destiny 2 had rolled out. They didn't listen to their core audience, and they had to try and make that up as it went along. Like, there's a lot of games that are suffering with that. They listen to the newcomers that's coming in, that's only going to be there for that 1 week, and they're going to go on instead of their actual core audience. I feel like developers or publishers need to listen to the developers on what is working and what's not working, and the audience is key. Like, pay attention what's going on, how people are playing your games, how people are receiving your games. Like, tune in to certain people that's playing something. Like, they're not a big content creator or anything, but they just want to play their game and share it with friends or people that want to tune into those people. The gaming, and I'm gonna talk more another pillar of the industry. The gaming industry.
Before you move on, I just want to shout out Dragon Your Heart Yo, because he said facts on what you just said, and said, for example, Saints Row.
Yes. So like
y'all veered way off. Y'all on a whole different y'all in a different country right now. Y'all just kept driving and took the wrong exit. Like what happened?
Now listening, like not paying attention and listening will put you into a deep hole. We've seen this with PlayStation. We're seeing this with Xbox right now. Like, we're seeing it with these third-party developers. Y'all trying to go with the trends. Everything does not need a battle royale.
Facts.
Make your own stuff up. Like, just things like that alone. You're not paying attention to your core audience or trying to get new people in that are not in their 30s. As well. We got
like dropping GoldenEye without a multiplayer on Xbox. Like, how tone deaf is that? Like all the people that played GoldenEye have families and houses in different states. Ain't nobody playing couch co-op GoldenEye 007 at this point.
And is anybody talking about it? Nobody's talking about it at all.
It was dead on arrival.
The PC version that got like 100 and something people that you can play multiplayer with. Like, that's what I mean by like not paying attention and not being as innovative. This to me, the morale of gaming. Like, I'm not jaded with gaming. I always find some video game I could tap into to get that out of gaming. Like, I'll be gaming until I'm old. But what I'm saying is that the innovation factor and creativity with writing is not there right now in gaming at all. A lot of stuff is rehashed, redone. That's why when Hi-Fi Rush came out, it was like, wow, this is so cool. And yes, we had a game similar to that with Cadence of Hyrule, but it took along more aspects to it, and we want to see things like that. So
it made you feel like you were watching an anime and playing a game at the same time.
And playing a game at the same time. Now, community-wise, we got a lot of people in here that's posers. Like, and what I mean by that, y'all just in these gaming conversations just because you want to be a part of something. And I don't know what it is, because I feel like a lot of these people don't really play video games. They just want to be in a conversation to debate with someone. Or they think that their gaming console is some type of like hard religion of some sort.
Yeah, people be trying to get that gotcha moment. That's really that
Relax.
they're trying to do, just trying to get that gotcha moment. Like, I'm
And
smarter
it's
than
like,
you right here, and it's half the time they
and
get
you're
sat
not.
down.
Yeah, like relax. Opinions, but it's my opinion. Okay, but you need to have some ethos behind your opinions as well. And with that comes facts as well with it to support your claim. Like you need claims to support what we're talking about. I think a lot of people miss that part in school. But the art of debating. But like relax. Like you can have a really dope conversation with odds. Like you don't have to agree. Understanding is not agreeing. So understanding does not mean you're agreeing. Look up the definition of understanding. That does not mean that you agree with the person. You have to agree with people, but understand and be respectful. I see so many stupid, even when I have said stuff on Twitter, and yes, you have these people because Twitter has given an outlet to the dumb masses, unfortunately, too. Um, but relax. You can feel how you want to feel, but you don't work for this company. You're not getting paid by this company. They are not feeding your family. They're not putting nothing in your bank account. None of that. Relax. It's games. I've seen people go below the belt. It's video games. Relax. Play your games. I see more debating about revenue and stats aside from people actually showcasing their gameplay
Gameplay.
on something. Or like, y'all, can y'all help me on this because y'all I'm at this? I don't even see that. But yeah, that all that with frustration.
Fair enough. Well, let me turn that question upside down and then ask you, what would be a dream come true for you in gaming as a whole?
um, for everyone to have a voice, of course, yes, which people do, but go back to the basics, which is having fun with playing video games. Like, a lot of things, and I guess that's because things have been so kind of suffocated and what's the word? Uh it's just like when you had the party chat and you only can talk with the people that of course you know instead of like talking to people that you could newly meet. Um but what I would love to see, and what I do get a chance to see, period. I love when I see people meeting new people and things that they love and share or having debates. But people are like, okay, cool, I get that aspect from it. That's what I want to see. Like, that's what I want to see. Now, gaming as a whole, period. I just need these companies to listen, which they're not. But I wish it was back in the days of like the 2000s. I felt like those were like the glory days. Of course, the 90s was leading up into, the golden age, but um when games were made to make sure that the end user have fun or learn something from it instead of the end user just being another stat to the roster. um I feel like gaming is losing its essence on that with the publishers, and it needs to go back to the core basics of why we're here and what we're doing and why somebody should even play your video game. And more in-person stuff. Get to know who your community is, get to know who your consumer, your customer is, and so forth. So um, that's what I hope to see again. But I love what I'm even seeing as far as um, people making their own tables to sit at instead of relying on others to give them their chances. I love what social media has happened so far, with all of us making our yeses instead of relying on people's no's so much and thinking that determines who we are and what we do. So I love that social media has helped a lot of us become successful in whatever voice we have to share. So it's happening now. I want to see more of it. And you got to counter the bull with positivity and stuff. So yeah, nothing's going to be perfect, but I just need some of those things to be handled at least.
I feel that. And that was phenomenally well put. Thank you so much. And I just want to go on ahead now and tell you that this has been a phenomenal interview. and I
Oh, thank
really,
you. This has been
really,
phenomenal.
I really appreciate you setting your time aside. Um, you know, working with me in the background. People don't see what I go through to get people on the show and stuff like that, and the balancing I try to do, the comfort that I try to give people to,
Yeah. If
like I believe it was like either yesterday or or maybe it was today or a couple days ago. I don't know. I get lost sometimes, but you're like, but you were saying, yo, I got this event, and I was like, yo, okay, would you like me to push this a little bit back?
yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate it so much. But yeah, like, bro, I understand too, like even trying to get people, but you do a phenomenal job. This show alone, you've asked some incredible questions and even, getting your audience involved too. You have a phenomenal show. Like, period. So I love like this alone, it answers a lot of stuff, just like what you were saying, from developers to people who just play video games to content creators. You just get to hear their side of something that we all love to share, and that's video games, and get our history. I think this is it's incredible, for real. So keep it, please keep it up, and if you need help with anything, just let me know.
It's phenomenal. I'm happy to have your blessing in this and whatnot. It's been a blast having you on. But one thing I want you to do, or actually, I have two things I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do before we get up out of here is going ahead and let everybody know one last time where they can find you. Whether it's content creating or just just posting on social media or something like that, or gaming if you want to
Sure.
throw that out there too. It's totally up to you.
Yeah, sure. Sure. So everything is right in for me across the board. I'm mostly vocal on Twitter. Um and if you want to play me, just let me know who you are. Let me, if you want to add me, let me know. Okay, I heard you and stuff on the show. Let me know, because I don't want to be your friend on your roster like I'm a holographic Pokemon just sitting there and we never play a game and I'm just being collected. I feel some type of way. All right.
Feel
So we're
that?
gonna
Yep.
play a game, we're gonna play a game. But just let me know who you are, if y'all are going to add me. If you want to add me on a Switch, I have to send you that social security number of the Switch.
Right. That thing
Um
unnecessary. That is
I know,
unnecessary.
stuff like that. But yeah, everything from Steam and everything else, what like everything's right in for me. Um Definitely check me out also on Afropunk, which is twitch.tv/Afropunk. I also have something else cool to announce. So I have teamed up with a really good friend of mine, Des. So we're helping produce a really dope showcase called Dames for Games. It is celebrating and highlighting and showcasing women in gaming from different aspects, whether you're a gamer, a developer, a professional, whatever aspect you are in gaming. We definitely want to showcase all the women that's a part of the community and the industry. There's also going to be some game showcase that women led or women developed too. So that's Dames for Games. That's underneath the mix. If y'all don't know what the mix is, definitely check out the mix and Black Voices in Gaming. Shouts out to Justin. He's the owner of one of the co-founders of the Mix and owners. So definitely check that out. So we're doing a showcase and we're gonna have a live showcase out in LA. Um,
Mm.
so during when E3 should have taken place, but we're gonna have something live there too, with the Mix and Black Boys in Gaming and Dames for Game. So stay tuned for more announcements. So definitely hit me up on Twitter so you can see everything. But it's supposed to start June 7th and everything ends on June 13th with all those different showcases. And the Dames for Games is a part of that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Again, thank you so much for being here. But the last thing I wanted you to do before we actually cut this thing off is I want you to describe to me gaming in just 3 words.
Oh, see, one of the words is not a word. It's like it's, um gaming is, I would say, is breathtaking, um, communicative, and inspiring.
So
I would say that.
breathtaking, communicative, and inspiring.
Yes.
Those are 3 wonderful words, you guys. And I want to thank all of you guys in the chat, those of you that are watching now, and those of you that are not in the chat as well. I want to thank you guys for watching as well. And of course, the people that are going to be watching this later on when we're not live, I appreciate everybody that comes through to the channel, watches this, supports this, hits that like button. I appreciate all of you guys so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But this is your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming signing off of the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel with my special guest, REDinFamy. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the night. Keep it up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for an awesome episode of Bull Sitting with 2 special guests I got, that being Agent Deli and Lord King David will be coming through. So it will be a fire show tomorrow. And of course, the rest of the panel except Loke will not be. Loke, unfortunately, will not be there because he literally just had a kid a couple days ago. And, you know, we ain't getting paid from none of this. So I was like, go on, do your thing, man. I'll see you when you come back. Just let me know when you're coming back. So he's doing his thing. But I appreciate everybody for coming out here. You guys are soldiers. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all make sure y'all do what I always say at the end of every episode. Y'all make sure y'all keep it gaming or you keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.